First. Invisible ninth planet. Source: National Geographic Magazine. Is there a giant icy planet hiding on the outskirts of our cosmic neighborhood, even further than the orbit of Neptune? This is one of the many mysteries of the solar system that fascinates us. Some scientists searching for it have nicknamed this hypothetical planet Planet 9, but this idea has caused a lot of controversy since it was first proposed. The reason why an invisible planet is predicted to exist is because the gravity of a celestial body obviously affects the strange clustered orbits of a group of small celestial bodies. But so far, searches for the planet have been inconclusive, leading critics to believe the data's hints about the planet's existence don't actually exist. Now, a new analysis predicts that if there is a hidden Planet 9, it may be closer, brighter, and easier to find than previously thought. I think it will be discovered within a year or two. The author of the new study, astronomer Mike W. of the California Institute of Technology. Mike Brown said his paper has been accepted for publication in the Astronomical Journal. But he added, "I've made this statement every year for the past 5 years. I'm super optimistic." Brown and Caltech colleague Konstantin Bedijan has calculated the gravity tricks of Planet 9. Their latest analysis shows that the planet is about 6 times the mass of Earth, which may make it a rocky super-Earth. Or a gaseous mini-Neptune. If the planet is discovered, it will be the first large object to join the solar system's many roles since 1846. That year, astronomers announced the discovery of Neptune, an icy giant planet, whose existence was predicted by its gravitational influence on Uranus. But for years, skeptics have argued that the gravity signatures that revealed Planet 9's existence were nothing more than false observational flaws. Critics believe that the apparent clustering of orbits of distant objects does not represent the influence of an invisible planet, but a natural bias in sky surveys. Renu of the University of Arizona. Most of these objects are discovered with large telescopes, and these telescopes have limited survey time in the outer solar system, so they can only conduct surveys in areas of the sky that can be observed, which in turn depends on the location of the telescope, said Renu Malhotra. She is agnostic about the planet's existence and is independently speculating on its location. So far, astronomers have discovered only a few distant outer solar system objects, and without conducting a more complete sky survey of the outer solar system, it is difficult to determine whether these icy small objects really have strange clustered orbits or are randomly distributed. Meanwhile, to help astronomers searching for Planet 9, Brown and Bitkin used their revised calculations to create a treasure map that marked the area of the sky where the planet was most likely to be found. This region overlaps with the Milky Way's dense, twinkling disk of stars, so it may have harbored planets in past searches. "Now we know where to look and where not to look," Brown said. "That should be fine unless we do something wrong." Brown and Bitkin originally announced their prediction of Planet 9 in 2016, but they are not the first scientists to suggest that there is an undiscovered planet hidden in the remote outer reaches of the solar system. Astronomers have pondered such a planet for more than a century, mistakenly believing that some massive object was disturbing Neptune's orbit. Astronomer Percival Lowell called this planet Planet X and was so eager to find it that he left $1 million after his death in 1916 to fund the continued search for Planet X. In 1930, Clyde of Lowell Observatory. Clyde Tombaugh did not find Planet X, but instead discovered tiny Pluto. The Caltech team predicted the existence of Planet 9 because the orbits of a group of Kuiper belt objects were significantly disturbed. These small, icy objects beyond Neptune include a group of objects with extreme orbits that are at least 150 times farther from the Sun than Earth. In 2016, Bitkin and Brown carefully examined 6 of these objects. Their tilted elliptical orbits have puzzled scientists for years. The research team concluded that there must be an invisible planet that uses gravity to guide these celestial bodies into strange orbits, and that this planet is about 10 times the mass of Earth. The planet is speculated to have a mass between Earth and Neptune. Planets of this mass appear to be fairly common throughout the Milky Way in studies of planets orbiting other stars, but are conspicuously absent in our own solar system. Soon after the announcement, however, astronomers began questioning the Planet 9 hypothesis. Their main concern is that unusual clustering of orbits may not be clusters at all. On the contrary, over the past 5 years, several research teams have repeatedly concluded using various data sets that the evidence for Planet 9 is nothing more than an observational pseudo-flaw. Perhaps Planet 9 is a phantom and the so-called gravity effect is false evidence constructed from a handful of misleading data. Astronomers are still trying to resolve this controversy, and Brown and Bitkin's latest analysis is one such attempt. Michelle from the University of Canterbury. Michelle Bannister said, "It's great that they made detailed predictions and published the results." She challenged the theory of Planet 9 in 2017, "If there is really a 9th planet, I will very happy, the solar system we live in is so interesting." Brown and Bitkin's latest predictions for Planet 9's size and orbit are based on a slightly different set of objects. They retain some of the original Kuiper belt objects in the database, but also added new ones and excluded any objects whose orbits appeared to be affected by Neptune's gravity. In the end, their calculations covered 11 Kuiper belt objects. If you include the objects affected by Neptune, the signal will be blurry and you won't know what's going on, Brown said. New research finds that there is a 99.6% chance that the special orbital arrangement of these objects is caused by an invisible planet and is not randomly distributed. That sounds good, Mahora said, but it also means there's a 1 in 250 chance that the arrangement is the result of a fluke much greater than the 1 in 10,000 chance Brown and Bitkin published in 2016. Many. Still, Mahora said the new analysis improves on previous studies, even though it didn't take into account as many objects. It's interesting enough for us to study, but it's not convincing enough, she said. Bitkin also conducted extensive simulations to predict the characteristics of the planets, mainly their positions and masses that might account for the orbits of these 11 objects. The resulting treasure map points to Planet 9's orbit in the sky, although the team still doesn't know where the planet is on its path. Although the new speculation is that the planet is smaller, about 5 to 6 times the mass of Earth instead of 10 times, it is also clearly closer to Earth. This means that Planet 9 should appear brighter in the sky, but Brown also points out that the planet's brightness is estimated based on assumptions about the planet's composition, which are not necessarily correct. The new prediction makes this hypothetical planet more consistent with astronomer Chad Trujillo and Scott. Similar claims made by Scott Shepard. In 2014, their research team announced the discovery of an object called 2012 VP113, named after the then Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, nicknamed it Biden. They believe that far away, there may be an object with a mass 5 times that of the Earth, pushing Biden and several other distant objects into a clustered orbit. However, although different teams have similar claims, experts in the field have not yet reached a consensus on the existence of Planet 9. Overall, for an object that has not yet been discovered, it performs surprisingly well. Yale University astronomer Greg. I think it's a good reason and it's interesting, but why haven't they found it yet? Where is it? Said Greg Laughlin. The fact that Planet 9 has not yet been discovered may indicate that, if the planet exists, it may now be at the furthest point in its orbit, making it a dim, slow-moving target hidden in starlight. Brown, Bitkin, Shepard, and Chikiro are using the powerful Nibiru telescope atop Mauna Kea in Hawaii to search for the elusive planet. But even with the most powerful tools in astronomers' arsenal, the search remains challenging. Based on their predictions of Planet 9's brightness and orbit, it would blend right into the gleaming background of stars floating in the milky white streak of our Milky Way galaxy in the night sky. It's bright enough, close enough, and obvious enough that it can basically just hide in this area of the sky without being discovered, Laughlin said. My feeling is that if it really exists, it will be discovered very quickly. Turn up. Using the Nibiru telescope to find areas of the sky isn't the only way astronomers are searching for Planet 9. NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, TESS, which is busy searching for other exoplanets, may also find them while scanning the sky, including predicted orbits of planets. Traces of Planet 9. In 2019, astronomers proposed a clever data processing method that can discover distant solar system objects from the observation data of the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, Laughlin and Marlena of Yale University. Malena Rice is working on this technology. I don't think the chance of success is very high, but if this planet is really in the area of the sky scanned by the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, then it is not impossible for it to find Planet 9, Laughlin said. Occasionally, shocking events happen that shouldn't happen. Many astronomers agree that the planet hunter's best chance of finding Planet 9 is the Vera planet, which is being built on a mountaintop in Chile. Vera Rubin Observatory. This 8.4-meter telescope has a wide field of view and captures the entire visible sky every few nights. Starting in 2023, the observatory will allow astronomers to track the movements of millions of celestial objects, including space junk, asteroids, comets, spy telescopes, stars, and possibly even Planet 9. The Vera Rubin Observatory will cover about 2/3 of the sky, but in a uniform and repetitive manner, Mahora said. This will really help us make significant progress on these topics. Brown believes we may discover this planet before the next generation of newer telescopes are available. Perhaps, he says, the mysterious planet is already hiding in the data astronomers currently have. I'm willing to bet, and I often lose bets, that we already have images of this planet in our existing sky surveys, Brown said. Starting with Uranus and all the way up to Pluto and Eris, I don't think we've discovered any objects that don't exist in the existing data. In 2005, Brown discovered the dwarf planet Eris at the Palomar Observatory. Later, he discovered that the earliest images of Eris already existed. Photographic film taken with the same telescope in 1955. I just had a feeling that something like this would happen again. Second. Nibiru. Source, ChatGPT. Nibiru is a concept in ancient Mesopotamian mythology, sometimes also called Planet X or the 10th planet. According to legend, Nibiru is an extremely deviated planet. Its orbit is different from the orbits of other planets in the solar system, so it is considered a mysterious celestial body. Some people associate Nibiru with the legendary planet X and believe that it may have an impact on the Earth and even cause disaster. However, the scientific community generally believes that Nibiru is a fictional concept with no actual evidence of its existence. Although some people have tried to explain the existence of Nibiru through some theories, so far, no real evidence has been observed to support this statement. As a result, Nibiru is viewed more as a character in mythology than as a scientifically real planet. Source: Wikipedia. Nibiru is a god in Sumerian myths and legends. His name means fairy in Sumerian. The solar term symbolized by this god is the summer solstice. In his writings, Zechariah Sitchin named a planet after this god. In his writings, he also regarded other gods as planets or alien races. For example, Tiamat was set as the predecessor of the Earth. There is talk of a Nibiru collision. According to records in Sumerian culture, Nibiru entered the solar system once every 3,600 years. There lived a race of people called Nephilim who were quite tall. They did not live forever, but lived for about the time of the Earth. 360,000 years. According to legend, the Nephilim came to Earth to collect the elemental gold, and in the process created humans to help them search for the gold. Third. Anunnaki. Source: ChatGPT. The Anunnaki are a group of gods in Sumerian mythology. They are said to be the main gods in ancient Mesopotamia. According to mythology, the Anunnaki are believed to be the gods who founded civilization on Earth. Described as tall and powerful deities in human form, they are said to have interacted with humans in ancient times and have influenced human society in many ways. The legend of the Anunnaki is closely associated with the religion and culture of ancient Mesopotamia. According to mythology, they were believed to be gods over the sky, earth, and underworld, possessing extraordinary power and wisdom. Their stories were recorded in Sumerian religious texts, which had a profound influence on later religious and mythological traditions. Although the Anunnaki played an important role in ancient Mesopotamian culture, no direct evidence of their existence has been found in modern historical and archaeological research. As a result, the Anunnaki are viewed more as characters in ancient mythology and religious beliefs than as real-world entities. Source: Wikipedia. Anunnaki, or translated as Anunna, Anunnaki, 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 is a group of blood-related gods in Sumerian mythology. God is also the god of the underworld, god of Hades. Anunnaki is written in various ways, meaning prince or son of Anu. The Oxford Collection of World Mythology says that the Anunnaki were ancient Sumerian gods. They were fertility gods among the gods of Chthonius, and were later associated with the underworld, where they became approving gods. Their name from the ancient god Anu. Anu's wife Chi gave birth to the Anunnaki, the most famous of whom was the air god Enlil. According to legend, before Enlil was born, heaven and earth were indistinguishable, and Enlil split them apart. Chi and Enlil chose the place. Some scholars doubt that Chi is not a god because there is no temple to her and her name only appears in a few Sumerian creation texts. Sam Noah Kramer believes that Chi is actually the same deity as the Sumerian mother goddess. They originally came from different places, but they were connected very early. According to ancient Babylonian texts, the Anunnaki gods lived in the holy city of Nippur. According to Sumerian documents from the 3rd dynasty of Ur, 21st century BC, they were the sons of Anu. Later Akkadian documents stated that their father was Marduk. There are different opinions on the number of Anunnaki gods, ranging from 7 to 600, with the usual estimate being 50. Marduk divided the 600 Anunnaki gods into 300 gods in the sky and 300 gods in the underworld, underworld gods. Their functions are not very clear, they mainly determine people's fate. The power of a certain god is illustrated by their reactions. For example, Anu's word or glance can make them tremble. The potential of the gremlins can drive them into the cracks. They are the intermediaries between humans and gods, and their names are not usually mentioned in oaths. The underground Anunnaki gods form a system of their own, usually the judges of the underworld, see Inanna, Ereshkigal, and are governed by the queen of the underworld, Ereshkigal. All the gods in the Akkadian era were divided into two major groups. The Anunnaki were the earth gods and underworld gods, and the Igig was the cosmic god. Their relationship to Sumerian gods known as Igigi is unknown. Sometimes they are synonymous with them, but in the Atrahasis flood legend Igigi was the 6th generation god who was to serve the Anunnaki, but rebelled after 40 days and was later replaced by the created humans. Jeremy Black and Anthony Green provide another explanation for the relationship between Igigi and the Anunnaki. They say that Igigi was the name of 10 great gods during the ancient Babylonian period. Later, Sino-Soviet, American and in the Babylonian period, they were generally used to refer to the gods of the sky, while the Anunnaki were later used to refer to the gods of the underworld. The creation myth mentioned that there were 300 Igigi gods. The Anunnaki appear in the Babylonian creation myth Enuma Elish. In later versions Marduk was expanded, and he separated the Anunnaki and gave them their respective realms, 300 for heaven and 300 for earth. The Anunnaki are mentioned in the Epic of Gilgamesh when Utnapishtim recounts the story of the Great Flood. In this legend, the 7 judges of hell are called the Anunnaki, and they set the earth on fire when storms come. Later Sumerian and Babylonian mythology said that the Anunnaki were the children of Anu and Chi, and were brother and sister gods. Anu and Chi are the children of Anchar and Kishar, and they are the children of Lahemu and Lamu, the guardians of the Abzu temple in Eridu, the place of creation. And they are the children of Diamat and Abzu. In Zechariah Sitchin's Earth Chronicles they are regarded as aliens from Nibiru who helped human civilization, and their hybrid descendants with humans are the Nephilim in the Bible. 4th. 8 planets. Source: ChatGPT. The 8 major planets refer to the 8 main planets in the solar system. In order of their distance from the Sun and size, from the Sun outward, they are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These 8 planets are the main components of our solar system. They orbit the Sun and have their own satellite systems. Among these planets, Mercury and Venus are located inside the Earth and are called the inner planets. Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are located outside the Earth and are called the outer planets. These 8 planets are common celestial bodies in the Earth's sky and have been observed and studied by ancient humans for thousands of years. Source: Wikipedia. The solar system is a star system bound together by the gravity of the Sun, including the Sun and celestial bodies that move directly or indirectly around the Sun. Among the celestial bodies that move directly around the Sun, the largest 8 are called planets, and the remaining celestial bodies are much smaller than planets, such as dwarf planets, small solar system asteroids, and comets. Objects in indirect orbit around the Sun are satellites, 2 of which are larger than the smallest planet, Mercury. The formation of the solar system began about 4.6 billion years ago with the gravitational collapse of a giant interstellar molecular cloud. Most of the mass in the solar system is concentrated in the Sun. Among the remaining celestial bodies, the most massive is Jupiter. Located in the inner solar system are 4 smaller planets, namely Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. They are called terrestrial planets and are mainly composed of rocks and metals. The outer 4 planets are called giant planets and are much more massive than the Earth-like planets. The 2 largest of them are Jupiter and Saturn, both gas giant planets whose main components are hydrogen and helium. The 2 outermost planets are Uranus and Neptune, which are ice giants composed mainly of volatile components with higher melting points than hydrogen and helium, such as water, ammonia, and methane. Almost all planets orbit close to the ecliptic plane. The solar system also contains many smaller objects in the main asteroid belt between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, most of which are made of rock and metal like the Earth-like planets. Beyond the orbit of Neptune are the Kuiper belt and discrete disks, which contain a large number of trans-Neptunian objects, mainly composed of ice. Beyond that, there are newly discovered Sedna-like objects, sednoid, of which there are dozens or even tens of thousands. Because a planet is large enough to form a sphere by its own gravity, it is called a dwarf planet. Those that have been confirmed to be dwarf planets include Ceres in the asteroid belt, and the trans-Neptunian objects Pluto and Eris. In addition to these 2 regions, there are also a large number of small celestial bodies moving freely between the 2 regions, including comets, as well as Centaur asteroids and interplanetary dust clouds. There are 6 planets, more than 4 dwarf planets and some small celestial bodies surrounded by natural satellites. Usually the Moon is called a satellite. Each planet in the outer solar system is surrounded by a ring of dust and small bodies. The solar wind is a stream of charged particles flowing outward from the Sun, creating a bubble-like region in the interstellar material called the heliosphere, or heliosphere. The heliopause is where the pressures of the solar wind and interstellar material reach equilibrium, and it extends to the edge of the divergent disk. The Oort cloud, thought to be the source of long-period comets, may be more than 1,000 times farther away than the heliopause. The solar system is located in the Orion arm of the Milky Way, about 26,000 light-years away from the center of the Milky Way. Objects orbiting the Sun are divided into 3 categories: planets, dwarf planets, and small solar system bodies. Planets are celestial bodies that orbit the Sun and are massive enough. Such celestial bodies has enough mass to form a sphere. Ability to clear nearby orbits of small celestial bodies. There are 8 celestial bodies that can become planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. On August 24, 2006, the International Astronomical Union redefined the term planet, excluding Pluto from the major planets for the first time, and combined Pluto, Ceres, and Eris into a new classification: dwarf planets. Dwarf planets do not require the removal of small celestial bodies in nearby orbits. Other celestial bodies that may become dwarf planets include Sedna, Argos, and Genesis. From its first discovery in 1930 until 2006, Pluto was regarded as the 9th planet in the solar system. However, in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, many celestial bodies similar to Pluto were discovered in the solar system. In particular, Eris was more clearly pointed out to be larger than Pluto. 5th. Neptune. Source: ChatGPT. Neptune is the eighth planet in the solar system and the outermost planet we currently know. It was discovered by the German astronomer Johann Goldberg in 1846 through calculation and prediction, becoming the first planet to be discovered through calculation. Neptune has a diameter of approximately 49,244 kilometers, approximately 4 times that of Earth. It is a gaseous planet, composed mainly of hydrogen, helium, and a small amount of methane. Because it is located at the edge of the solar system, the surface temperature is extremely low, with an average temperature of about -200 degrees Celsius. Neptune has at least 14 known moons, the largest of which is Triton, which may be a captured asteroid or comet. Unlike other moons, its orbit is also retrograde, unlike Neptune's. The direction of rotation is opposite. Although we have some basic understanding of Neptune, our understanding of many aspects of Neptune is still limited because it is located at the edge of the solar system and the mission of detecting and observing it is relatively difficult. Source: Wikipedia. Neptune is the farthest from the Sun among the 8 planets in the solar system, the 4th largest in size, but the 3rd largest in mass. Neptune's mass is approximately 17.147 times that of Earth. Neptune is named after Neptunus in Roman mythology. Because Neptune is the king of the sea, it is translated into Chinese as Neptune. The astronomical symbol for Neptune is the trident used by Poseidon, the god of the sea in Greek mythology. As an ice giant, Neptune's atmosphere is dominated by hydrogen and helium, with trace amounts of methane. Methane in the atmosphere is partly responsible for the planet's light blue appearance. Because of the thick fog in Uranus' atmosphere, Neptune's blue color is more vivid than that of Uranus with the same amount of methane. Neptune has the strongest winds in the solar system, with measured wind speeds of up to 2,100 km per hour. In 1989, Voyager 2 flew by Neptune and compared the Great Dark Spot in its southern hemisphere with Jupiter's Great Red Spot. Neptune is relatively far from the Sun and is one of the coldest regions in the solar system. The temperature at the top of Neptune's clouds is -218 degrees Celsius, 55 K, and the temperature at the core is about 7,000 degrees Celsius, which is equivalent to the surface temperature of the Sun, which is also the same as most known temperatures. Planets are similar. Discovered on September 23, 1846, Neptune is the only planet discovered through mathematical prediction rather than planned observation. Astronomers use perturbations in Uranus's orbit to deduce the existence and possible location of Neptune. So far, only Voyager 2 has visited Neptune on August 25, 1989. In 2003, NASA proposed a Neptune orbital exploration plan with the scientific level of Cassini-Huygens, but without the use of a propulsion device that provides electricity through a thermal generation reaction. This plan was funded by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and done with Caltech. On July 12, 2022, the James Webb Telescope photographed Neptune again, clearly capturing Neptune's planetary rings for the first time in more than 30 years. 6th. Pluto. Source: ChatGPT. Pluto is a dwarf planet in the solar system, located beyond Neptune and one of the most distant known objects in the solar system. It was originally considered Planet 9, but was reclassified as a dwarf planet by the International Astronomical Union in 2006. Pluto is about 1/5 the diameter of Earth, so it is relatively small. Its surface is composed mainly of ice and rock, and its atmosphere is composed mainly of nitrogen and methane. Pluto's surface temperature is extremely low, about -230 degrees Celsius. Pluto has 5 known satellites, the largest of which is Charon, which has a similar mass to Pluto and is considered a binary star system. In addition to Charon, there are 4 smaller moons: Hydra, Nix, Kerberos, and Styx. Pluto was once the only known unexplored planet in the solar system until NASA's New Horizons probe flew by Pluto in 2015 and sent back a wealth of data. This detection gave us a deeper understanding of Pluto and its moons, revealing their geological features, the composition of their atmosphere, and more. Source: Wikipedia. Pluto, asteroid number 134,340. Pluto, also known as Pluto, is a dwarf planet in the Kuiper belt of the solar system. Pluto was the first Kuiper belt object discovered. Pluto is the largest and second most massive dwarf planet known in the solar system. Among objects orbiting directly around the Sun, Pluto ranks 9th in size and 10th in mass. Pluto is the largest trans-Neptunian object, second only in mass to Eris, which is located in a discrete disk. Like other Kuiper belt objects, Pluto is composed primarily of rock and ice. Compared with the Moon, Pluto has only 1/6 the mass of the Moon and 1/3 the volume of the Moon. Pluto's orbit has a high eccentricity and inclination, with a perihelion of 30 astronomical units, 4.4 billion kilometers, and aphelion of 49 astronomical units, 7.4 billion kilometers. Pluto therefore periodically moves inside Neptune's orbit. Neptune and Pluto will not collide due to mutual orbital resonance. At Pluto's average distance from the Sun, it takes sunlight 5.5 hours to reach Pluto. Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto in 1930 and regarded it as the ninth planet. After 1992, some icy objects with a mass similar to Pluto were discovered in the Kuiper belt, challenging Pluto's planetary status. The mass of Eris, discovered in 2005, was even 27% more massive than Pluto. The International Astronomical Union, IAU, the planetary concept was thus formally defined the following year. The new definition sees Pluto no longer classified as a planet, but instead classified as a dwarf planet and a Pluton-like dwarf planet. There are currently 5 known satellites of Pluto: Charon, 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 and Charon. Pluto and Charon have a common center of mass that is not inside either body, so they are sometimes considered a binary star system. The IAU does not officially define a dwarf planet binary, so Charon is still defined as a satellite of Pluto. On July 14, 2015, the New Horizons probe became the first spacecraft to fly by Pluto. During the flyby, New Horizons conducted detailed observations of Pluto and its moons. It was found that Pluto's landform features have many similarities to the 8 planets in the Solar System, and there are ice volcanoes and thousands of meters of mountains standing on top of the methane layer and frozen nitrogen. The glacier temperature may reach below -200 degrees Celsius. New Horizons images show that there may be an ocean beneath Pluto made of semi-melted water ice, which means there may be a heat source underground. 7th. Eris. Source: ChatGPT. Eris is a dwarf planet in the Solar System and an important celestial body other than Pluto. It was discovered by an American astronomical team in 2005 and was officially named Eris in honor of Eris, the god of strife and strife in Greek mythology. Eris is about 1/3 the diameter of Pluto and is considered one of Pluto's neighbors. Its mass is about 1.66 times that of the Earth, making it a quite massive celestial body. Eris's surface is primarily composed of ice and rock, similar to other dwarf planets. One of the most striking features of Eris is one of its moons, called Dysnomia. This satellite was discovered by observations of Eris, and its existence provides researchers with the opportunity to learn more about Eris. The discovery of Eris prompted the International Astronomical Union to reconsider the definition of a planet and reclassify objects such as Pluto and Eris as dwarf planets in 2006. This event marked an important adjustment in the classification of smaller objects in the Solar System and triggered more research and exploration of other dwarf planets in the Solar System. Source: Wikipedia. Eris, asteroid serial number 136,199. Eris is the second largest dwarf planet in the known Solar System and ranks 9th in mass among all celestial bodies that orbit the Sun directly. It is estimated to have a diameter of about 2326 plus or minus 12 kilometers, is about 27% heavier than Pluto, but Pluto is larger, and has a mass of about 0.27% of the Earth's mass. It was discovered by Mike Brown, Chad Trujillo, and David Rabinowitz on January 5, 2005, from a pile of photos taken on October 21, 2003, and in 2005 announced on July 29 together with 2003 EL61. Its temporary number was 2003 UB313 and its name was temporarily called Xena, the heroine of the American TV series Xena. Eris was located 97° from the Sun in July 2005, and its orbit is extremely tilted with a revolution period of 557 years. It is classified as a zodiacal discrete object, a star that deviates from the plane of Earth's orbit. At the 26th International Astronomical Congress in August 2006, 2003 UB313 was classified as a dwarf planet, assigned the asteroid number 136,199, and named after Eris, Rho Iota, the god of Eris in Greek mythology. Because Eris appears larger than Pluto, its discoverers and NASA initially called it the 10th largest planet in the Solar System. However, with the successive discoveries of other celestial bodies of similar size, the number of Solar System objects that meet the definition of planets has increased sharply, prompting the International Astronomical Union to redefine planets for the first time. According to the IAU planet definition on August 24, 2006, Eris is a dwarf planet like Pluto, Ceres, Haumea, and Makemake. On November 6, 2010, the preliminary results of the occultation of Eris showed that its diameter is about 2,326 kilometers, with an error of plus or minus 12 kilometers, which is only equivalent to Pluto. Evaluated in terms of standard deviations, it is difficult to determine which is larger, Eris or Pluto. It is estimated that the solid diameter of both is about 2,330 kilometers. 8th. Dwarf planet. Source: ChatGPT. Dwarf planets are a class of objects in the Solar System that are relatively small to be full planets, but larger than typical asteroids. Dwarf planets usually have enough mass to form into a nearly spherical shape, but their formation and evolution processes differ from typical planets. The International Astronomical Union, IAU, defined dwarf planets in 2006 and reclassified Pluto, Eris, and a number of other similar objects as dwarf planets. According to the IAU's definition, a dwarf planet must meet the following 3 conditions. 1 orbiting around the Sun in the Solar System. 2 have enough quality to form an approximately spherical shape. 3 failure to clear other objects around its orbit, that is, failure to become the sole dominant celestial body in its orbit. In addition to Pluto and Eris, other celestial bodies recognized as dwarf planets include Haumea, Makemake, etc. These dwarf planets, like other celestial bodies in the Solar System, provide important clues to our understanding of the formation and evolution of the Solar System. With the continuous development of space exploration technology, the research on these dwarf planets is also increasing. Source: Wikipedia. A dwarf planet is a small planetary mass object. They are in orbit directly around the Sun, with enough mass and gravity to make their appearance nearly spherical due to hydrostatic equilibrium, but not enough to achieve orbital exclusivity like the 8 classical planets in the Solar System. The classic dwarf planet is Pluto, but it was considered a planet for decades before the concept of dwarf was adopted in 2006. Planetary geologists are interested in dwarf planets because they may be geologically active, an expectation confirmed in 2015 by the Dawn mission to Ceres and the New Horizons mission to Pluto. Astronomers generally believe that at least the 8 largest candidates are dwarf planets, in rough order of size: Pluto, Eris, Haumea, Makemake, Gonggong, Chuang, Sedna, and Ceres. The 10 largest candidates were considered, plus Death and Salacia. Among these 10 celestial bodies, 2 have been visited by space probes, Pluto and Ceres, and the other 7 have at least one known satellite, Eris, Haumea, Makemake, Gonggong, Creation, Death, and Thalacia, which allowed their masses and densities to be determined. Mass and density can in turn be fit into geophysical models to try to determine the properties of these worlds. Only Sedna has neither been visited nor has any known satellites, making accurate mass estimates difficult. Some astronomers believe that candidates also include many smaller objects, but there is no consensus yet, except that these objects are likely to be dwarf planets. The term dwarf planet was coined by planetary scientist Alan Stern as one of 3 classifications of planet mass objects in the Solar System: planets, dwarf planets, and planet mass satellites. Therefore, dwarf planets are considered a type of planet. However, in 2006, the International Astronomical Union, IAU, adopted this concept as a category of sub-planetary objects, part of a triple classification of objects orbiting the Sun, planets, dwarf planets, and small solar system objects. So Stern and other planetary geologists considered dwarf planets and large moons to be planets, but since 2006 the International Astronomical Union and most astronomers have excluded them from the planetary register. 9th. Kuiper Belt. Source: ChatGPT. The Kuiper Belt is a vast region located outside the Solar System named after the Dutch-American astronomer Gerard Kuiper. This belt is made up of icy, rocky, and icy objects that range in size from small planets to asteroids. The Kuiper Belt is located around the orbit of Neptune, roughly 30 to 55 astronomical units from the Sun, which is equivalent to 30 to 55 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun. It is distinguished from another similar structure, the Oort cloud, which is located further out in the Solar System. The objects in the Kuiper Belt are considered to be primitive materials left over from the formation of the Solar System. They have evolved at the edge of the Solar System for billions of years. Several dwarf planets, asteroids, comets, and other objects are considered part of the Kuiper Belt. The discovery of the Kuiper Belt has provided important clues to our understanding of the formation and evolution of the Solar System. It has also provided key information for us to understand the origin and nature of comets and other frozen objects. As space exploration technology continues to develop, our research on the Kuiper Belt continues to deepen. Source: Wikipedia. Kuiper Belt, English, Kuiper Belt, also known as Leonard Kuiper Belt, also translated as Kuiper Belt, is located outside the orbit of Neptune in the Solar System, about 30 astronomical units from the Sun, a dense circle of celestial bodies near the ecliptic plane disk-shaped area. The hypothesis of the Kuiper Belt was first proposed by the American astronomer Frederick Leonard and confirmed by Gerald Kuiper more than 10 years later. The Kuiper Belt is similar to the asteroid belt, but is much larger. It is 20 times wider and 20 to 200 times heavier than the asteroids. Like the main asteroid belt, it mainly contains small bodies or remnants of the formation of the Solar System. While most asteroids are primarily made of rock and metal, most Kuiper Belt objects are largely composed of frozen volatile components, called ices, such as methane, ammonia, and water. There are at least 4 dwarf planets in the Kuiper Belt: Pluto, Haumea, Makemake, and Eris. Some of the Solar System's moons, such as Neptune's Triton and Saturn's Titan, are also thought to have originated in this region. The Kuiper Belt is located in a low-inclination orbit 40 to 50 from the Sunday. This place has always been thought to be empty in the end of the Solar System. But in fact it is filled with icy planetesimals ranging from a few kilometers to thousands of kilometers in diameter. The origin and exact structure of the Kuiper Belt are not clear yet. The current theoretical speculation is that it originated from the fragments on the Sun's protoplanetary disk. These fragments attracted and collided with each other, but in the end they only formed a planetesimal belt instead of a planet. The solar wind and material will slow down here. The Kuiper belt is sometimes mistaken for the boundary of the solar system, but the solar system also includes the Oort cloud, which extends 2 light-years away. The Kuiper belt is the source of short-period comets such as Halley's Comet. Since Pluto's discovery, astronomers have argued that it should be excluded from the solar system's planets. Since Pluto is similar in size to the large asteroids in the Kuiper belt, at the end of the 20th century it was even argued that it should be classified as a Kuiper belt asteroid, while Pluto's satellites should be regarded as its companions. In August 2006, the International Astronomical Union removed Pluto from the planet category and classified it into a new type of dwarf planet along with Ceres and the newly discovered Makemake, Haumea, and Eris. The Kuiper belt should not be confused with the hypothetical Oort cloud, which is more than 1,000 times more distant. Objects within the Kuiper belt, along with members of the discrete disk and any potential Oort cloud objects, are collectively known as trans-Neptunian objects, TNOs. Pluto is the largest object in the Kuiper belt, and the second known trans-Neptunian object is Eris in the discrete disk. 10th. Michael Brown. Source: ChatGPT. Michael Brown is an American astronomer best known for his discoveries of dwarf planets outside our solar system. He is a professor at Caltech and a best-selling author. Brown was born in the United States in 1965. He received his undergraduate degree from the California Institute of Technology and his PhD from the University of California, Berkeley. Brown's research focuses on objects in the periphery of the solar system, particularly Kuiper belt objects. He was one of the main promoters of many important discoveries, including Eris, Haumea, and Eris. These discoveries changed our understanding of objects at the edge of the solar system and led to a reconsideration and revision of the International Astronomical Union's definition of a planet. In addition to his contributions to the scientific community, Brown is also a well-known popular science writer, and his books are deeply loved by readers. His books introduce his findings and other surprising facts about the solar system and universe to the public. In general, Michael Brown is world-famous for his research achievements in the field of celestial bodies around the solar system and his popular science works. Source: Wikipedia. Michael Mike E. Brown, English, Michael Mike E. Brown, born June 5, 1965, American astronomer, currently professor of planetary astronomy at Caltech, 2003 to present, and previously served as assistant professor, 1997 to 2002 years, and associate professor, 2002 to 2003. Because his team discovered Eris and other dwarf planets similar to Pluto in the solar system, it was downgraded to a dwarf planet, so it was called the Pluto Killer. Brown is best known in the scientific community for his exploration of distant objects orbiting the Sun, and he led the team that discovered many trans-Neptunian objects. Particularly famous are Eris, a dwarf planet larger than Pluto in the solar system. Sedna, the aphelion is about 900 O and is considered an object in the inner Oort cloud. Death Star, Pluto-like object, which has a 3:2 resonance relationship with Neptune's orbit. 11th. Extrapolation of Planet 9. Source: ChatGPT. There has always been some controversy and speculation in astronomy about the inference of Planet 9. Based on the orbital anomalies of the planets outside the solar system, some astronomers speculate that there may be a large celestial body that has not been observed so far, the so-called Planet 9. These orbital anomalies include the collective motions of Kuiper belt objects, as well as the orbital parameters of other planets. Some scientists believe that this hypothetical ninth planet may be an ice giant similar to Pluto, or it may be a more massive celestial body, or even a brown dwarf, similar to a star but less massive and unable to undergo nuclear fusion. However, although there is some indirect evidence supporting the existence of Planet 9, to date, no direct observations of this hypothetical object have been made. Scientists are conducting a large number of observational and simulation studies to verify this hypothesis and try to determine the reality of Planet 9 and its properties. In astronomy, the inference of Planet 9 remains an active area of research, with more observations and studies awaiting to answer this question. Source: BBC News Chinese. Swiss scientists published an article in the journal Astronomy and Astrophysics describing the possible status of the ninth planet in the solar system. Scientists from the California Institute of Technology published an article in January this year saying that there may be a ninth planet on the distant outer edge of the solar system. Scientists did not observe the planet directly, but inferred the existence of the planet based on changes in the trajectories of other celestial bodies. After American scientists came up with the above conclusion, astronomical telescopes around the world are stepping up their searches. Scientists from the University of Bern in Switzerland have now used computer simulations to specifically infer the size, temperature, and composition of this possible planet. A research team led by Christophe Mordesani, a professor at the University of Bern, concluded that this is a frozen planet with an outer layer of hydrogen and helium. The team used a planetary evolution model to calculate the evolution of the planet from the formation of the solar system 4.6 billion years ago to the present. Scientists from the California Institute of Technology have said that the mass of this planet is 10 times that of the Earth. Scientists from the University of Bern in Switzerland now believe that its diameter is 7.5 times that of the Earth and its temperature is -226 degrees Celsius. 12th. Ice planet. Source: ChatGPT. The term ice planet is often used to describe planets around the solar system that are primarily composed of water ice and other frozen materials such as ammonia and methane. These planets are generally considered to be a type of ice giant. The characteristics of icy planets are very different compared to the gaseous planets in the inner solar system. Their surface temperatures are usually very cold, frozen material dominates, and gases tend to be less obvious. Ice planets may have frozen oceans or frozen rocky crusts on their surfaces. Because these planets are located at the edge of the solar system, with less light and cooler temperatures, their atmospheres may also be relatively thin. In areas around the solar system such as the Kuiper belt and Oort belt, we may find some icy planet-like objects. These objects may be ice giants, icy dwarf planets or other forms of icy objects. Although we have not directly observed these planets, through simulations and indirect evidence, scientists have some understanding of the properties of icy planets. Source: Wikipedia. An ice planet is a planet with a cold, icy surface that contains volatiles such as water, ammonia, and methane. The surface of the ice planet is the global cryosphere. According to the geophysical definition of a planet, medium-sized icy objects in the solar system can be considered ice planets. These include most planet mass moons, such as Ganymede, Titan, Enceladus, and Triton, and the known dwarf planets, such as Ceres, Pluto, and Eris. In June 2020, NASA scientists reported that based on mathematical modeling studies, exoplanets with oceans are likely to be common in the Milky Way, and some of these oceans may be located under surface ice. The surface of an icy planet may consist of water, methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide, called dry ice, carbon monoxide, nitrogen, and other volatiles, depending on its surface temperature. The surface temperature of an icy planet will be below 260 K, -13 degrees Celsius, if it is composed mainly of water, below 180 K, -93 degrees Celsius, if it is composed mainly of carbon dioxide and ammonia, and below 80 K, -93 degrees Celsius, if it is composed mainly of methane -193 degrees Celsius. On the surface, ice planets would be very harsh on most life forms that originated on Earth because they are so cold. However, many icy planets may have subsurface oceans heated by internal heat or tidal forces from other celestial bodies, e.g. stars, moons. Liquid groundwater would provide habitable conditions for life, including fish, plankton, and microorganisms. Known underground plants cannot exist because there is no sunlight available for photosynthesis. Microorganisms can produce nutrients using specific chemicals, chemosynthesis, that can provide food and energy to other organisms. Some icy planets with thick atmospheres and large amounts of surface liquid, such as Titan, could be habitable to potential alien life forms if conditions are right. 13th. Thorin. Source: Wikipedia. Thorin, English, Tholen, uncertain, is a substance that exists on cold stars far away from stars. It is a type of copolymer molecule made from simple organic compounds such as original methane and ethane under ultraviolet irradiation. It is formed, but it is not a single pure substance, and there is no definite chemical molecule or definite mixture corresponding to it. Thorin usually has a light red or brown appearance. Thorin cannot be formed in today's natural environment on Earth, but the surface content of celestial bodies composed of ice in the outer solar system is extremely large. Beyond the solar system, the Hubble Space Telescope used its near-infrared camera and multi-object spectrometer to spot the 420-million-year-old star HR 4796a 220 light-years from Earth. Thorins on Triton and Titan are nitrogen-rich organic matter formed when solar radiation hits the two moons' nitrogen and methane-rich atmospheres. Triton's atmosphere is 99.9% nitrogen and 0.1% methane, while Titan's atmosphere is 98.4% nitrogen, 1.6% methane, and trace amounts of other gases. This derivative in the atmosphere and the clathrate of water irradiated by solar radiation are different from the cryotropin produced by organic matter such as methane and ethane. The surface of the Hades small celestial body Ixion contains a large amount of cryotropin. Many cryotorins exist on the surfaces of comets, Centaur asteroids, and many icy moons in the outer solar system. The orange-red clouds in Titan's atmosphere and the surface of the Centaur asteroid are thought to contain tholin. Thorins may also exist in protoplanetary disks next to young stars, CHR 4796a. Some scientists hypothesize that the early Earth was hit by a tholin-rich satellite, causing organic matter to enter the Earth and becoming the original material for the birth of life. See the Miller-Urey experiment. However, the Great Oxidation Event 2.4 billion years ago produced oxygen-free radicals in the Earth's atmosphere, making it impossible for thorin to exist on the Earth today. One theoretical model to explain the formation of tholin is that nitrogen and methane molecules are decomposed and ionized by high-energy particles and solar radiation to form other small simple molecules and cations such as ethylene, ethane, acetylene, and hydrogen cyanide, which then form benzene and other organic molecules. These molecules are polymerized into an aerogel consisting mainly of larger molecules, which condenses and is deposited on the planet's surface. The term tholin was coined by astronomer Carl Sagan and his colleague Basan Cahill to describe the difficult-to-qualify properties of mixed gases obtained in their own Miller-Urey experiment. Substances, and the same substances are also found in Titan's atmosphere. It is not a specific substance, but is often used to refer to the reddish organic material on the surface of a planet. Thorins tend to contain nitrogen atoms in the molecule when formed at low pressure. If formed at high pressure, the nitrogen atoms may be located at the terminal positions of the molecule. Thorin can serve as an effective barrier against ultraviolet radiation on the surface of celestial bodies. Experiments have confirmed that a variety of bacteria in the soil can use synthetic tholin as the only carbon source needed for survival. Therefore, tholin is considered to be the first food of heterotrophs before the evolution of autotrophs. 14th. Gas planet. Source: ChatGPT. Gas planet refers to a type of planet in the solar system whose main components are gaseous substances, mainly hydrogen and helium. Gas planets typically have thick atmospheres and no apparent solid surfaces. The gas planets in the solar system include Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The atmospheres of these planets are usually very thick, and due to the high pressure and temperature of the gases, many different gaseous and liquid substances may be present, such as hydrogen, helium, methane, ammonia, etc. The cores of gas planets may be solid cores made of rock and metal, but due to high pressure and temperature, these solid cores are usually wrapped under a thick gas atmosphere and difficult to directly observe. The characteristics of gas planets include large mass, large volume, low density, fast rotation speed, and multiple satellites. They also often have powerful magnetic fields and storm systems, such as Jupiter's Great Red Spot and Saturn's storm belts. Source: Wikipedia. Gas giants, English, gas giants, also known as Jupiter-like planets, are giant planets mainly composed of hydrogen and helium. Jupiter and Saturn in the solar system are gas giant planets. Gas giant planet was originally a pronoun, synonym, for giant planet. However, in the 1990s, academic circles realized that Uranus and Neptune are giant planets with different properties from gas giant planets. They are mainly composed of heavier volatile materials, whose properties are similar to those of gas giant planets. Ice, so they are called ice giant planets. Jupiter and Saturn are mainly composed of hydrogen and helium, with other heavier elements accounting for approximately 3% and 13% respectively. They are thought to have an outer layer of molecular hydrogen surrounding liquid metallic hydrogen, possibly with a molten rock core. The outermost layer is the hydrogen atmosphere, which is characterized by visible layers of clouds composed of water and ammonia. Metallic hydrogen makes up every giant gas giant, and is called a metal because very high pressure turns hydrogen into an electrical conductor. Gas giant planets have the characteristics of cold on the outside and hot on the inside. Their cores are thought to have high temperatures, 20,000 K, and high pressures, but their properties are poorly understood. 15th. Ice giant planet. Source: ChatGPT. Ice giant planet is an astronomical concept, usually used to describe planets around the solar system. Their main components are ice, including water ice, ammonia, and methane. Ice giants generally differ from gas planets in that their cores may be composed primarily of rock and metal, while their peripheries are made of ice and gas. In the solar system, the representatives of the ice giant planets are Uranus and Neptune. Although they are called ice giants, their internal structure may actually be more similar to a gas planet, with a solid core of rock and metal, but an outer atmosphere composed mainly of ice and gas. Ice giant planets are usually located at the edge of the solar system, far away from the Sun, and therefore have lower temperatures. Surface temperatures may be close to absolute zero. Due to this low temperature environment, the atmosphere of an ice giant planet may contain large amounts of ice crystals, forming clouds and various features of the atmosphere. Source: Wikipedia. Ice giant, English, ice giant, also known as sea-like planet, is a giant planet mainly composed of gases heavier than hydrogen and helium, such as oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, and sulfur. In the solar system, Uranus and Neptune are both typical ice giant planets. Only about 20% of their mass is hydrogen and helium, while the mass of the gas giant planets, Jupiter and Saturn, is usually mainly composed of more than 90% hydrogen and helium. In the 1990s, it was realized that Uranus and Neptune were a unique class of giant planets, separate from the other giant planets. 16th. Micro black hole. Source: ChatGPT. MICRO black holes are a hypothetical type of black hole that is smaller in mass than common stellar mass black holes or supermassive black holes. The hypothesis of micro black holes stems from speculation about the different types of black holes that may exist in the universe. According to theory, micro black holes may have been formed after the Big Bang, and their mass may be only a few or hundreds of times the mass of the Moon. Because of their smaller mass, Micro black holes have a smaller gravitational range, so they generally don't devour surrounding matter like massive black holes. The existence and properties of microscopic black holes remain a hypothetical question that has not yet been supported by actual observational or experimental evidence. Within the current scope of scientific knowledge and observations, we have not found any evidence for the existence of miniature black holes. But some theoretical physicists and astronomers believe that if micro black holes exist, they may have an impact on some phenomena in the universe, such as the nature of dark matter, cosmic background radiation, etc. Source: Wikipedia. Micro black holes, also known as quantum mechanical black holes or mini black holes, are very small black holes. It is called a quantum mechanical black hole because at this scale, quantum mechanical effects play a very important role. It is possible that these quantum-level primordial black holes were created in the high-density environment of the early universe, or during the Big Bang, or were created in subsequent phase transitions. Through the particles expected to be scattered by the Hawking radiation effect, astrophysicists may be able to observe these black holes in the near future. Some theories involving multidimensionality predict that there are some micro black holes with masses as small as the electron-volt range. This level of energy can be used in particle collisions such as the LHC, Large Hadron Collider, produced inside the machine. There is therefore some public concern that this could lead to the end of the world. See safety of particle collision experiments at the Large Hadron Collider. However, such quantum black holes will evaporate very quickly, leaving only minimal interactions or disappearing altogether. And in addition to these theories, we note that the cosmic rays shot towards the Earth do not cause any harm to the Earth, even though the center of mass of these cosmic rays carries energy as high as hundreds of TeV. In principle, a black hole can have any mass higher than the Planck mass. To create a black hole, we must concentrate mass or energy to the point where the escape rate exceeds the speed of light. Some extensions of present physics assert the existence of higher dimensional spaces. In higher dimensional spacetime, the intensity of gravity increases to a higher extent than in three-dimensional space as the distance shortens. Under certain theories dealing with multiple dimensions, this effect would reduce the Planck scale to a range around TeV. Examples of such extended theories of physics include large extra dimensions, special cases within the Rendell-Sundrum model, and treatments of string theory such as GKP solutions. Under these hypotheses, the production of micro black holes may be an important phenomenon that can be observed in the Large Hadron Collider. And it is also likely to be a natural phenomenon often caused by cosmic rays. Special. Scholars discover ninth planet in solar system. Source: Sputnik Satellite News Agency. Scientists from the California Institute of Technology announced the discovery of a new planet. No one has yet observed this planet through a telescope. Scientists Michael Brown and Konstantin Batygin believe that the existence of new planets can be proven by analyzing data on gravitational disturbances in other celestial bodies. The new planet has not yet been named, but experts have been able to determine its various parameters. The planet is 10 times more massive than Earth and has a chemical composition similar to the two natural gas giants, Uranus and Neptune. Conclusion: it's just a small cabinet.